A very, very warm welcome to our panelists for today. Thank you so much for being here. This is officially the biggest panel I have ever moderated. And thank you so much to my good friend Suresh Naidu and the Masverse team for this opportunity. It's a milestone for me as well today. And without any further ado, I think the reason why we are all here today is for blockchain. Yeah. And we are looking at the current landscape and how we are moving forward. Uh, and listening to all the sessions that were shared by all of you esteemed guests this morning, I think we are really set to get ahead and we are moving really fast, yeah, compared to what we were doing a couple of years back. I see huge progress. As a student, as a PhD student who completed my study in the area of blockchain, I think I am really, really one of those today here in this room who's really happy to see the progress of how blockchain is moving forward. Things which I thought I wrote maybe or might be in my study is for sure today. Yeah, it's nice to see how everything is realizing and realized today. Yeah, so thank you. And I'm going to start off with our member from MDEC. Yeah, because I think you have mentioned earlier a little bit about the current state of blockchain in Malaysia. So I think if I could just ask you to share with us a little bit of the current state of blockchain in Malaysia in all industries. Uh, thank you, Mr. Danesh.
Okay, maybe now what I couldn't share just now, let me just share now. I think we've been, MDEC particularly has been looking at this industry, I think in the last 3 years, I would say, right? Been assessing how it's been growing. But one thing I want to just share, this industry has been around for much longer. It has been having a lot of vibrancy. And one thing we did notice, right? We should be proud that some of the biggest blockchain companies, right, that made it big globally, right, like Etherscan, CoinGecko, these guys are all of Malaysian origin. You also probably would have heard Jupiter, example, right? This is also another party that is of Malaysian origin and going to be growing significantly. I was just updated by one of the champions for the Solana ecosystem, Henry, that the whole ecosystem of Solana is already in Malaysia. So this is a good point. We have the likes of course, local companies like Masverse looking at their own chain, fully developed in Malaysia. Malaysian talent working on the chain. Now, what I was very interested to probably share with all of you all, at this moment, we are already engaged with a lot of L1 and L2 players across the globe. As you all are aware, L1 core infrastructure development is most likely in the home countries. It's very difficult to attract that, but we want to attract that. Good news is you will be hearing more L1 and L2s coming into Malaysia. And what are they looking at, right? They are looking for the right developers. They are looking for the right projects that they can work on. It is amazing what Mas has already shared just now. If you look at the Web3 guidebook, there's a whole team around ESG. ESG, we cannot run away. It is a requirement. SMEs, which are powering most economies across the world, if you are going to export to the EU, you must comply with ESG, right? Because there's going to be restrictions if you don't do so. Now, I will tell you something. It is a PITA, or what they call the word, sorry to say my pun intended, pain in the ass, to do reporting on ESG and etc. Many players are all around the world. MITI has taken a lot of effort in trying to drive that agenda. But what we are saying is, with the power of digital, we should automate this, right? To allow the SMEs to adopt it. So the ecosystem or landscape is robust. There are data aggregators there. There are companies like Mars working on L1s and L2s, foreign companies also working here. We have cloud players who are coming in together to try to drive the ecosystem. Let's not forget about also the talent pool, APU, Blockchain Club. Sunway Blockchain Club. Big shout out to all of these guys, right? The future talent that is trying to drive that. And also our partners in Security Commission and etc., who are working on the regulatory side, pitch in, working in trying to drive new innovations through all of this. So I would believe the landscape is continuing to grow. It's going to be very exciting.
Excellent, excellent answer. And I'm going to just take that flow of thought and hand over to Miss Lee to give us a little bit of idea on the regulator perspective, because I believe regulation is always a concern, and governance and accountability at these areas. So perhaps if you could share some light with us on that aspect.
Oh, sure. I think thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you to Masverse team and also the esteemed panel today. It's a pleasure. So I think in the presentation by Ms. Vinesh earlier, Malaysia is among the first country that regulate digital assets. So we have scoped in those digital assets that are securities, including crypto assets, as securities, and come up with a comprehensive regulations to regulate so-called issuance of token for fundraising. And hence we have regulated players like Pidgin, KLDX, where innovative issuers, perhaps some of them who potentially here could go to this platform to issue your tokens for fundraising. And second aspect would be the trading of these tokens. So we have regulated digital asset exchanges where we set up the guidelines to ensure there is market integrity, client asset protection, and token listing requirement for the tokens to be listed on our exchanges. And we also have digital asset custodian where they fulfill our guidelines to safeguard the digital assets private key. So I think for regulator point of view, we are constantly trying to learn what is happening in the market. I think just now I also echo Mr. Danesh point, like we have very good or very robust Web3 ecosystem, but I think what we want to see more would be application of blockchain technology in so-called Web3, Web2. How we can, I think also in the Masverse group, something very interesting, they have dedicated chapter on how to bring blockchain to Web2. So we also actively look at how to bring blockchain to empower our capital markets. So that is where we want to actively engage. We also have some program to actively engage our players to ensure our regulation or policy is future proof. Allow our players to be able to adopt the state of art latest technology, AI, blockchain, to make our market more innovative and competitive. So this is something that we are doing. So that's why I think we have comprehensive asset for those areas, but we also constantly thinking how to bring that forward for our existing players as well.
Well done. That's some really good points. And perhaps I could just pass over to Venus. Yeah. Venus, you mentioned earlier about the 22 months that you've been going through. Now, I can see from the achievement today that not only you'd have seen a lot of milestones in terms of success, but challenges as well. Yes, I'm sure those challenges are the ones which actually made you thrive harder and where you are today in front of all of us. Can you please share with us a little bit of the challenges that you face in achieving?
Sure. Thanks for the question. I guess how we are building Masverse and the whole ecosystem is we are building the use case and application upfront before our layer one even ready. Because we want to prove the usage of blockchain technology for different industry, for example, education that we have done. And other than that, of course, we need people to see really what blockchain can benefit to the different industrial. That's why we are building the use case upfront. And we know this is challenging because the awareness, people might not know what is blockchain, misperception on blockchain and crypto, right? So these are the challenges that we face at the very beginning. But up till today, I would say we just keep going, we just keep proving with the use case. And yeah, so that's how we did it. But we believe education on blockchain and Web3 needs to continue to carry on, not just by Masverse. I think with all of us within this ecosystem, I think it's our duty to do this. Yes.
Absolutely. Perhaps Mr. Arvind can share some of his insights on these challenges as well.
Okay, so I think, in my opinion, the challenges is adopting this technology, right? When you look at the state of blockchain in Malaysia, I would say it's still sad,
Mhm.
right? But evolving and progressive. Beyond this room, you still have to explain what is blockchain. After 15 years since the inception of Bitcoin, you still have to go through the basics and make them understand that this technology exists, right? So first of all, in addressing the challenges, I think industries need to know that this option exists, right? And this option can potentially improve, optimize their service, or bring them better ROI into anything that they are doing. So this has to be an option. Like Mr. Danesh earlier mentioned that um, Malaysia is becoming the hub, right? We have international trade partners, but banking still closes at 4 p.m., right? And these are all the areas of challenges where we need to be addressing. How can we make something robust and something more usable? I think from the consumer's point of view, the use case matters more
Yes.
rather than what's the technology driving behind it.
Yes. Mentioning about use case, I'm going to pass it on to Professor Vinesh here, who is our Chief of Innovation of APU. And I'm sure he's going to share some light about innovation.
Yeah, see, the main thing over the last few years, and it started quite some time ago, is not having enough talents to push the blockchain industry with the fire that it already had with the earlier taboo of being associated with crypto. So just to give you a bit of insight, back in 2016, about 8 years ago, we were approached as a university to be of a service to a local Malaysian company that was developing a blockchain solution for Malay reserve land in Malaysia, especially in Kuala Lumpur, where there's a lot of Malay reserve land, but it is not been captured or protected in a secure way that it should be. What we saw was that the requirements from the Malaysian company was that we were not teaching this on campus. They were far ahead, and very similarly linked to Society 5.0. The technology is driving too fast, and we can't keep up. That was our first initial move into knowing that blockchain has to sort of remove itself from the taboo of being associated with crypto and make it look like as if it is a professional uh, certification, qualification, or skill set, so that it can move forward. But what I learned personally from that is that blockchain was here to stay, and it was going to spread even further. So what we did at the university, in order to ensure that talents are coming out with at least uh, the early stage of skill sets, was to actually develop two modules. So we got two courses. One is blockchain application, and one is blockchain development. So blockchain application will be the front end, and blockchain development will be the back end, and it will serve both the social sciences and also the tech guys. And that has been running now for easily 6 years, and we are now contemplating on actually putting a degree together, because it has reached that maturity stage. But in that process is also thanks to Suresh, a name that we mentioned earlier, and he was on stage earlier, to bring the very large awareness to the younger generation, who are still, the young generation. They are very fiery. They ride on this fire that everything can be done in a single day, and quick winning, quick money making, blah blah blah. Yeah, but we wanted to also sort of push the awareness that this is something of a qualification, uh, or a skill sets that can take you forward in the professional industry setting. And we set up this club. There are about 650 of them now. They are very excited. They are very well equipped and aware that allowing themselves to pursue blockchain skills will allow them to actually get a good job. And that's the thing which we want to convert, rather than sticking to the conventional taboo of associated with crypto. So these 650 have done very well. Just to give you an insight, a couple of weeks ago, we sent a team to Taiwan, and they won a e-hack, and they actually developed a distributed finance solution where on a different blockchain, you can actually pay your loans. The protocol was developed by them single-handedly by this team of 5 people, and that was a revolution in that space of DeFi, uh, and which we are very proud of. And I hope that other universities in Malaysia also learn from us and can also move in this direction uh, under the space of blockchain. Yeah.
Excellent points, Prof. Over to Miss Suhanna. Yeah, I can actually relate to some of the pointers that Prof. Vinesh just mentioned. I wrote a paragraph on blockchain anxiety in my thesis. And there has been this apprehension, especially on adopting something new. Yeah. And what more if you're told that you need to work with it in the future, or use it or utilize it and ensure that you use it right. Perhaps, Ms. Suhana, some insights from you about what are the strategies that you could suggest for us to overcome some of the challenges that were mentioned in the panel so far.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Suhanna, the founder and CEO of CoKeeps, Malaysia's first digital asset custodian. But we also have our own co-proprietary tech. It covers cold wallet, hot wallet, and smart contract solutions. Just come talk to us if you're interested. I think, I think based on this introduction, we're doing the regulatory side, which is the digital asset custodian, but also combining with the tech. That's the new version of being a digital asset custodian compared to being a custodian for the traditional assets, right? And when there's a tech play, there's definitely a lot of challenge in terms of explaining the need why certain things needs to be done in a certain way. And also, I think in this case, it's really up to us players to actually dumbify the tech. Not everyone needs to know from A to Z. What we need to do is actually translate this, what it means to the user, by adopting this blockchain technology. And so I'm also a big believer that blockchain technology shouldn't be it's not just a mere header, like just grabbing the headline. But it's actually what we should be introducing is actually what is the use cases, what is the impact, and because of this, your life is easier. You are saving money, and operationally it's efficient. I think in this case is actually, again, make it relatable, instead of being so obsessed with the tech itself, harping on the tech. And I think it's exciting at the same time because we see all walks of life is actually interested to explore about digital assets or even blockchain. And I think even for us personally, like before FTX, it was really hard to actually explain what a digital asset custodian role in the market. But I think after FTX collapse, the scandal, and also with Mt. Gox, now there's a clear need that you need to park your asset, especially when it's not your own asset. You're dealing with the public investors' money. Then you need to engage with a registered third party, such as ours. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, so many different views, from the background that all of you are from. This is really good. And we have a blockchain roadmap in Malaysia, yeah? So, Venus, can you share a little bit with us about how are we moving with the roadmap and how is the roadmap progressing ahead?
I think for me to represent the roadmap might not be suitable, but we will actually invited to discuss on the roadmap, right? Next week with Mimos, right? So it's very important to us, the roadmap. We need to know how the whole Malaysia is going.
Yes.
And I think Ganesh have shared that blockchain is the focus step, right?
Mhm.
We position ourselves very closely with Malaysia and how we develop this whole Web3 and blockchain into the industry. So maybe I come from a point where, how Masverse see ourselves as compared to going with the roadmap. We want to be aligned with how our nation is going with that. And I guess at the end of the day, why we have a blockchain roadmap is our country see the opportunity of this technology and how it can benefit our country, right? And that's exactly why we are building the layer one foundation. We started seeing a lot of silo project as we started, our company, right? We wonder why isn't, we have our own layer one. But then we found out that, oh, there's a roadmap that our country is actually planning of doing so, right? And um, as us being Masverse, we work nonstop and constantly building, right? So then after 21 months, I think we kind of prove ourselves that we managed to build the layer one for the enterprise or even industry to use as an application. We make it seamlessly that you can easily come on board by just connecting maybe the API, right? So it's very challenging, shared by our tech lead as well, how you can actually use the blockchain technology. And I'm sure CoKeeps is working very hard to make this whole thing very seamless for user to come on board. So it's the same process, right, that we are designing. So by hoping with our layer one, we can help, to achieve the roadmap vision together with, our country as well.
Excellent. I think over to Mr. Arvind on the similar points and your perspective from Access Blockchain Malaysia on the roadmap itself.
Okay, so we noticed that the government or the ministries and the agencies have formed a council called the National AI and Blockchain Council, right? But we have not seen the map yet. Honest fact, yeah. So we are working on it. It's led by Mosti. I think they have already structured all the machineries to come up with multiple suggestions. There has been a lot of engagements. We have got a lot of public universities, private universities, government agencies who are all involved and providing very essential feedback on how can this technology benefit the nation. So we foresee the sesi pembentangan probably to be in 2025, towards the end of 2025, once they have structured what are the potential use cases. And so currently what is happening is blockchain and cryptocurrencies are being separated. But there are a lot of notions that cryptocurrencies are still being very taboo, still not accepted. But I believe that is one of the best use cases of blockchain, right? It was the biggest, people got to know about blockchain through cryptocurrencies, and I think those are all the key elements that we need to include in coming into a national roadmap.
Yeah.
So I think Masverse has done a very excellent job. They have went ahead and came up with their own national blockchain, which I feel it's a bit more liberal, right? So when we have a government initiative, we have got private initiatives, and we have created this environment where products are competitive, where people have choices, and there are different use cases for this. But of course, we have to see what the government has uh, planned for the country, and we are excited to be part of it. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Danesh, over to you on the roadmap.
Okay, the roadmap, I'll be very honest with you, has a lot of mixed views. Industry, government, academia, being very honest about it. I'm aware of this because my team has been working with my current team or previous teams have been working or looking at the engagement around this particular area. But good thing is, we all know that PMX has announced this week that attracting more investments in the likes of deep tech, Gen AI, and blockchain. That has been mentioned, right? Has to be reinforced. So that is one key thing. Number two, the roadmap was done some years back. If you look at it, just share with you, there is an AI, Singapore has an AI roadmap. They also have a blockchain roadmap. Their AI roadmap, they revised after, I believe after 8 or 9 months. It's from version 1 to version 2. I do understand from Emos, most likely they are looking at how are they going to change that. These things have to change eventually, right? So, like for example, in the roadmap, they were talking about use cases, COVID vaccination and etc. But as of this moment in this room, we talk about from the Islamic digital economy, right? The likes of Wakala donation, Islamic donation. That has already, we are working very closely with some of our partners here and all the teams to drive how those kind of things, those use cases need to come in, right? We talk about certification. We talk about what is this? Applications from a traceability perspective, ESG and etc. All of these are huge opportunities for the industries to benefit. Now, whether roadmaps are going to come or go, industry needs to go forward. That is number one. Number two, how do we drive the industry? We need to have projects, right? What are those projects? Projects are already coming from some of our parties here. We need to look at how the GLCs and LLCs, how are they going to adopt this technology, right? How are we going to drive that? I always look at it when PMX gives a mandate, like e-invoicing. When PMS gives a mandate, e-invoicing, 100 million revenue, everyone complies, everyone applies. That is the way that how we will drive adoption. I don't know how far will we go with regards to that, but we should look at some forms of that direction. That's my thoughts, Lem.
Absolutely. Really good. And it's good to understand, the perspective of MDEC, and um, integration of blockchain has always been a discussion. But I think now this, looking at today's discussion and how things are going, I think this integration is very important and how each organization is actually profiling themselves towards building. Yeah, so important. Miss Lee, overall to you from your perspective of uh, whether you have been utilizing or viewing, and how do you view the roadmap from your angle, and any mic.
Okay, about the roadmap in general, I think I echo with Mr. Danesh view on roadmap quite an important domain, blockchain and AI. Also agree that this technology is moving very fast and industry is moving fast to catch up with all the latest innovation, to innovate and to build projects. But I think the Mosty also selected the right kind of future innovation, which is blockchain and AI. So in that direction, we are aligned. So for Securities Commission, we also work hard on our domain because we are the regulator of capital markets. So we also strongly embrace adoption of latest technology, the like of AI and blockchain in our ecosystem among our capital market players. So to introduce a few efforts that we are doing, perhaps people outside of our capital market may not aware. So this year we are putting the key theme of innovation as AI and blockchain and have a series of programs to facilitate such conversation. So we have a program called SC by SC, where we gather our capital market players. So we are expanding them beyond just capital market players. We are thinking to bring in wider ecosystem, like ecosystem to talk about what are the use cases of blockchain and AI for capital market. Hopefully, we can encourage some projects, pilots within our players. And to enable that to happen, other than conversation, we have a few other programs. For example, many of you may aware, we also have a grant called Digital Innovation Fund for capital market players. So we just announced that I think until last year, it has been mostly focused on MSMEs or capital markets, but recently got approval that we are also extended to mid-tier company for those with revenue up to 100 million ringgit a year. So we encourage them to utilize this fund to innovate, provide new services or bring in innovation to improve efficiency, including using blockchain, so that it can make our market more vibrant and innovative. So that's what I think we are doing beyond just policy, but also industry engagement, co-funding, and as well as bringing new players or ecosystem to talk to our market players.
That's some very valuable information and sharing. Thank you for that. And Suhanna, how about you?
Hello. Okay. Hi. I want to share like our personal, our own experience trying to follow up on the national blockchain roadmap And surprisingly, like I think in that roadmap, it doesn't really cover much on even who are the contributors and what are the milestones to be achieved after you produce this document. And so we were trying to like figure out who actually contribute to, and I think they also like and we found one who actually highlighted. I mean, the document is already highlighting a couple of areas to look at. I mean, halal tracking, especially with supply chain, and this is actually one of the two I think biggest I think achievement in blockchain adoption besides the fintech space, right? And but then again, even based on our conversation, it seems like even the contributors said like there's nothing to follow up on their side. There's no lack of communication. So I think the challenge here is actually all right. So I think roadmap is good. You put it in documents, but let's follow up. I think the execution part, blockchain. I mean, our technology is already very great. I think it always come down to the human execution part that we're still. I mean, there's a lot of room to improve in terms of planning, execution, and then milestones. I think what we need to remind ourselves is that let's do baby steps instead of like, you know, setting a big target just to again grab headlines. I think and be realistic with ourselves and with realistic timeline as well.
Absolutely. Very important. Prof. Vinesh, I know you passed me a copy of the roadmap years ago. So hearing from you will be good today.
I think the any roadmap is a guide. Yeah, but it always gets altered. So we should not be too alarmed when a roadmap gets renewed or a new one comes in. It's interesting that this time around AI has been plugged in with blockchain because AI itself had a roadmap a couple of years ago, which I was part of under Mosti at that point in time. Um, I think what's important is that with the direction on the roadmap, it also brings all the stakeholders together in terms of knowing how blockchain can impact various industries. And the roadmap gives a guidance to the Malaysian population of who will be affected by blockchain in the near future, and how blockchain can play a positive role in enhancing productivity and efficiency within those industries. And it's very clear that that roadmap should be actually pushed out even harder to the public so that public can actually view it, and it should be also made easier to read. I saw a Malaysian education blueprint many years ago, which was about 400 pages. I think it should be just made into infographics, easy for any layman to read and understand, so that they know the direction of the country and the governance is proper and in the best way forward for the interests of the country itself and its citizens. I think in short. Yeah.
I really like the idea of having infographics and our students and the younger generation, you guys come up with excellent infographics, actually, So it's something for us to take back today, and think about how we can actually summarize this. And I think it'll be more effective that way and it reaches out much better. Yeah, so moving on, all right. Coming up to the final discussion, we spoke about what everyone is doing, different industries, your different organizations, different perspectives. We spoke about the challenges. Okay, so now moving forward, all right. Moving forward, yes, Mr. Danesh shared about moving forward. Veena shared about moving forward. Moving forward and with our participants here in front of us today, what would all of you like to share and advise, especially to the younger generation who's going to be driving these initiatives and strategies on paper in the future? So, hearing from all of you, and we can summarize. Yeah. So, maybe we start with Venus. Yeah, and then we go across.
Hello. The last question, right? To sum up, I see some of our community are here as well, and we have enterprise, right, and a lot of other participants. I guess moving forward, I hope we are not just working silently, right? We are all part of the ecosystem. right? How we can move forward, it's gonna be all together. And I encourage everyone to not just, of course, you're gonna focus on what you're building, but also look at what's happening outside, what have been done, what can we learn from there, and how we ourselves can do things differently that we can join and connect to this whole opportunity, right? We are all here because we wanted to dive into the opportunity that this industry can give us, to the digital economy, to everyone here, right? So I encourage us to not just look at ourselves and also surround. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, over to you, Arya.
I think we are already doing a good job. If we continue in this trajectory, we might get somewhere in a couple of years. But I agree with what Veena said. The industry has to come together. So probably on the government side, we have got more targeted grants that goes to specific areas of development. Probably on the regulatory side, we can have sandboxes where we can, test out new models and so on. But I think I would fairly say that we are doing a good job. I travel around the world attending conferences, and I think Malaysia, I'm still very proud to bear the Malaysian flag when I go around. So yeah, I think we are doing a good job.
Thank you, Arvind.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention anything about good job and all of this. Uh, but what I would like to really share, and just to share with you, I'm quite passionate about this particular industry. In fact, my team, my staff, in this particular cluster has a high turnaround going to the industry. Very interesting. I've observed. So I know there's a huge demand to drive this. Um, what we would really like, right, moving forward, right, and I keep on echoing this in all forums. The nature of Web3 and blockchain is decentralized. Sometimes some people say it's anti-establishment in some form, right? Huh? It is okay. Okay. So it's very important, right? If we want to come together, if we look at the triple helix model, right? Academia, industry, government, right? Uh, how do we come together in a cohesive manner? So we have access, industry association representative, right? Very critical in what MDEC is trying to do with all our partners. Uh, and we have the industry parties. We have the academia like you guys, right? APU, Sunway, Monash, and probably others, many others that will come along in trying to drive this. We know as of this moment, Gen AI is a big flavor in town. But we also know that blockchain is riding in tandem with that growth. And what we really looking forward to is we want to drive the growth of the industry. And to enable the growth of the industry is we want to attract parties to come into the country, whether outside of the country or domestically, to grow. And to enable that, we really need the industry to come together. And that we have to do with multiple facets, whether it's if the association or many other partners, to push that particular agenda for the long run. That would be my parting thoughts. Thank you.
Excellent. Over to you. Right? Yeah.
Okay, I also won't talk about anything. Good job, similarly, but I also echo a lot of good points about ecosystem collaboration, intergovernmental agencies, regulators. So we would like to be part of the ecosystem as well, where areas that relevant to us. So I hope our capital market can provide a effective fundraising avenue for all those innovative companies who can raise fund in our capital market, which whatever tools or instruments or asset class that relevant to your industry or purpose of your fundraising. So I think that is one role that the capital market can play, and also exploring the usage of those technology in our market to improve our back end, front end, and also middle office operations. So those are the areas that I think to echo the earlier point. And also just some moderators said that the final part is about talk about how to inspire this future generation. So my personal part was I think the importance of technology or innovation is to solve problem. So what are the problems that we want to solve? It's not always just blockchain can solve every problem. AI can solve any problem. The key thing is understand what is the problem and what are the strengths or weaknesses of usage of different tools that can solve them. But one thing I can think that this generation is lucky is because there's so many tools available. Masverse talk about blockchain doesn't need those languages because now another trend is no code AI or less coding required. So the whole thing is your problem solving skills to solve industry problem. That is something that I think we want to encourage more people to step up to do that moving forward.
Yeah, excellent. So I think, with evolution of all these areas, it just gives you more empowerment. I think the newer generation, they are more empowered, yeah, and they can add more value to any industry. Over to you.
I'm excited about the younger generation getting exposed to the Web3 space because this space is moving really fast, even for us in the game. We there's a lot of catch up for us to cover all aspects of the categories under blockchain. Right now we have DPIN, right? And I think also I was trying to echo with Miss Liji. I was actually wanted to highlight and bring our focus on the problem statement. What is it that you're trying to address? And I think, especially when you have the young blood, you get excited, and there's a lot of how to say, like, crazy, beautiful things happening on the internet. I think the thing is, I think what I would like to propose is actually, have an independent thinking, challenge the status quo in a sense of like question whatever information that you are given, especially, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation going on as well. With the freedom of knowledge, I mean, on Twitter, on Google. So, I mean, the world's your oysters. I mean, you can learn as much as you can from the internet, but at the same time, question every statement that is given to you, especially in the industry. Not everything is truth, or I mean, although it's a fact, but not necessarily they are truth. So I think let's challenge that.
Yeah, very good advice. Yeah, over to you, Prof.
Yeah, I think for us it's very important as a university, and speaking on behalf of academia, I think the approach from the Web3 industry was a bit wrong in the beginning. They approached the youth in a very social manner, and I remember on campus we had more than 20 social events in 1 year in 2022. And I said, what is all this pizza party and social events and no upskilling? It's like 90% social and 10% pizza. I'm only going to use a safe word called pizza. Yeah, there was more to that. And in 2023 we switched it over to 60% upskilling and 40% social. This year it's even gone worse. I've not heard of any social, maybe one or two social events in the first 4 months, and quarter 1 is already done. And I think that's the way forward for the youth. Keep the social there, but don't let the social overtake the whole embarking on producing talents for the country, or in this space of Web3 for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very important, Prof. Suresh Naidu, myself, and Miss Ng, another colleague of ours, I think she was here earlier, and Prof. Vinesh, we jointly supervise the society, APU Blockchain Club, and we are very, very proud to see how the club has actually moved into more a lot of synergy activities with members of industry, such as Suresh and the organizations that are here today. And we hope that, we will receive more feedback and input on how we can do better and how we can contribute more and how we can produce more talent in the area of blockchain technology. With that, I think I shall not hold anyone back from their food any longer. Thank you very much for being here today. And I would, yes, a message from Mr. Arvind.
So before we close the panel, I just want to inform that we are officially organizing the Bitcoin Pizza Day on the 31st of May. So for those of you who want to come and celebrate the greatest milestone in Bitcoin history, having it in Sapute Glass House, and give you a ticket.
All right. So yeah, I think there's some good connection between pizza and crypto and blockchain. There's definitely some connection there. I believe. Yeah, it's been happening for years now. Yes, please.
For the benefit of
Yes.
everyone. Just for you all to be aware of, on top of Pizza Day, a few big events domestically that is actually happening in Malaysia. So upcoming in June is the Solana conference. So that's big. There's going to be a lot of people flying in for that. Second one, we're going to see probably in July and August the My Blockchain Week 2024. That's also going to be a huge crowd puller, international and local. After that is going to be ETH KL, right? EurIng Kuala Lumpur. That's going to take place in the month of October. It will tie up with MDEC's own signatory expo, Malaysia Digital Expo, which is also in the month of October. Let's not forget that DEFCON that is happening in Thailand, which is north of us, that is also happening very soon. There are discussions now about other series of domestic events that is actually happening, and we do welcome anyone from the crowd to see how best can we support. Thanks.
Excellent. So that's very good information. So keep your calendars free. Make sure you grab those pizzas. Yeah. And thank you all once again. And thank all our panelists today for all your valuable insights and being here today with all of us in APU. Thank you very much. And see you again at the next event.